Oh, well, hello everyone. Welcome to week 3 of the Swain Batty League. We're just getting things set up for the first game here, a little late in true SBL fashion, but today I am 30, and today I'm joined by AJS0, the man himself. How are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. Had a nice long weekend, had yesterday off, first day back at work, and it's like, hey, I get to go home and cast some SBL nights. That
Yeah.
makes every day better.
Yeah, I like these days too. So
So
for
we
game
got
1,
what will hopefully be a exciting game on our hands here between WCF and Thomas the Dank Engine. On
yeah,
WCF side, we got Albino Joe hit platinum for the first time in his career last night, and Purple Pickle Pie up to what I believe is a peak platinum 2 currently.
yeah.
These guys taking things fairly seriously. Um, I need
Yes,
to check one
WCF
thing.
on the season, they're 0-2, a little disappointing start for them, but they had a pretty good showing last week. Well, going out into the lead, gold wise, and they had a strong comp, a good idea, just couldn't execute on it. So hopefully they can sort of turn around their season right now. As you said, it looks like the players themselves individually have been grinding solo queue. So hopefully they'll transfer over into this match.
Yeah,
But
this is a team that if I'm worried about anything, it's not that they need to grind solo queue. I'm just worried that they don't know how to play together as a team.
yeah, that's the big thing. It's their play has been kind of sloppy. There doesn't seem to be a lot of coordination. Albino Joe is constantly going in and no one following up on it. But on the purple side, we got Thomas the Dank Engine, and last week they were without their star mid laner Thrifty Senpai, and they got absolutely crushed last week without him. Once again, sort of the same boat as WCF. Their shot calling just wasn't there, and it sort of fell to pieces.
So
WCF opening up with a Gnar ban targeted at On the Wind.
yeah, On the Wind seems to be drawing slightly different bans from everybody I've talked to. A lot of people want to ban something from him, but no one seems too sure what. And with that last ban being the Irelia, that's something I've heard from quite a few people. So, two bans at On the Wind, and then, of course, Zyra like usual at Thrifty Senpai.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if he still likes Zyra. I'm pretty sure he does, but yeah, that's always going to be banned against Thrifty. And Maya Wang with the insta-lock Shyvana for their first blue side pick.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with that. Wang, did you play the. What did he play last week?
Wang played Elise last
Yes,
week.
that's right. Both of the last 2 weeks, he'd been telling me that he had wanted to play a Devourer jungler. And I think after 2 losses, he's finally convinced his team to let it happen.
Yep. Yeah, WCF, their bans, they were Evelyn, Vlad, and Diana. All targeted at a mid lane, except for Evelyn for Wang.
Is the Diana a jungle ban or a mid lane ban?
Um,
I've been following his team's match history too closely, so I'm not sure. Most of the
wait,
Dianas I've seen lately have been jungle, though.
wait, why are you on WCF?
That would be Garen fracking Baltar, who decided to get a name change before this week's match. As you all know, I am Lady AJS0, captain of Guerrilla Radio and commissioner of the Swain Batty League.
Oh wow, this that's so troll. The Diana ban, I don't know. Like I think she's a pretty good Runeglaive jungler, but I think she can still be played in the mid with some form of viability. So WCF Salvo, no surprise there. Picking Jinx for the third week in a row. Performed very well on it week 1. I'm pretty sure Salvo's just always going to pick Jinx if it's up at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised he loves Jinx. It's good in a lot of situations, and they're building a great team to protect it. Jen and Lulu going to make it really hard to get to that Jinx, especially when the enemy jungle is only a Shyvana.
Yeah. Oh, something of note, Zaku, their support player for Thomas the Tank Engine, looks like he's out this week, and they'll have Lock Him Down sub in once again. Last week he subbed in top lane.
Yeah, I did not even realize that. Good catch.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if that Shen support is, if that's going to be a Shen support, or if we're going to see a last pick support. But Lulu doesn't strike me as a thrifty senpai champion.
No, Lulu is one of On the Wind's champions in his pool.
So I'm going to assume that we're going to see support Shen for the first time in the Baddie League.
Yeah, Milk loves Rek'Sai. So that's also a very good comfort pick for him.
Now, moments of truth.
WCF.
The Hecarim and the Fizz, that turns into a pretty decent dive team out of WCF.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say that. They just want to go in. They want to look for fights. These champions all spike in the mid game. I like this. I think this is what WCF tried to do last week, and I like their comp last week, and I like their comp today. But they're just gonna have to do it. They just gotta go in there and perform.
Fizz. I'm just throwing that out there. Mordekaiser, dumpsters fifth in the 1v1. And I'm going to squeal if that gets locked in. Squeal louder than I ever have in the Baddie League.
Oh, jeez.
With Thrifty Senpai.
Twitch chat, get ready.
It's not going to happen. There is a 0% chance of this. But it would not be that good in that comp. They need another backline threat. Mordekaiser is a frontline threat. Now, backline threats, Orianna is one of them. Very good. We've had some very big Orianna games so far this season. Blabuer taking the whole league to town.
Yeah, 2 games on Orianna, and then Vivorite last week also played Orianna. He went 8-0 and 17 on it. So a highly contested mid pick for this league. I also like Thomas the Dank Engine's comp. It's pretty standard, protects the hyper carry comp, and I think it works. And now with Thrifty back in the lineup to try to shot call and try to coordinate this team, I think they have a pretty good chance.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch how this plays out. This is the classic super hard dive versus super hard peel combo.
Yeah, which is better, diving or peeling? That's sums up this matchup very well. I mean, Salvo is not going to be able to dodge some on-click CCs like Nautilus.
Yeah, and once that Nautilus ult happens, a Shyvana and a Hecarim are going to just jump right to that backline. But as we know, sometimes teams focus in so much on Thrifty Senpai that they forget about Salvo, which worked very well for TDE in week 1.
Yep.
So, things I'm going to be watching this game. I really want to see how Garen Fracking Boltar does on this Hecarim. He was, to be blunt, pretty bad last week in his top lane debut. And by the way, I'm going to be calling him Garen or Gaius this entire game, not AJS0.
Okay.
For everyone's sanity.
Yeah, he was top Malphite last week, 1-5-1 on it.
Microphone muted.
Yeah, not the best showing. Maybe this fits more of his play style with Hecarim. He has teleport Ghost, not bringing Ignite, so he's not looking to try to get any kills in the lane, which is probably a good bet against a Lulu, someone who can usually run away from all-ins. But you got purple with middle Fizz, something you don't see too often. Fizz has played a lot in the top lane in competitive play. He operates just a little bit different in the mid lane. Usually builds sort of full AP, goes for that burst assassin build, as opposed to something like Triforce or Blade into full tank.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the Fizz versus Orianna matchup, but I would imagine it's probably not too bad for Orianna, since Thrifty Senpai last picked it. And in general, Orianna does really well versus short-range champions like Fizz.
Yep.
But we'll see. I mean, WCF did manage to get to a good lead early on last week, and then it just kind of fell apart. But when your team's not playing super coordinated, I like just playing these aggressive mid lane comps. Most players, it's just very natural to group and fight. We'll see if they can get that lead again and maybe keep it this time.
Yeah, it's pretty much how solo queue operates. It's always do the laning phase and then you group up. And whoever picked the better team fight comp usually wins.
So I'm excited to see the support, Shen. I think this is the first time we've seen it this season. It was real fun for all of 3 weeks in the LCS before the LCS ended. And I get the impression it's already kind of starting to fall off.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that pick specifically?
Very on the fence about support Shen. The big reason he was picked and competitive is because of the lane swaps. He can roam around with the jungler. So he has basically global map pressure wherever he is. He's not a good laning support. He's not the guy you want in your 2v2 if you want to try to win the lane. However, I don't think Thomas the Tank Engine's gonna lane swap. So lock him down. Whatever the reason might be, he might just because it's comfort champ for him. I don't imagine Shen and Jinx being able to win any fights against a Corki Nautilus, which is a very aggressive all damage lane.
However, if any team was going to decide to lane swap, I would not be surprised if it was on the Wins team.
That's also true. Yeah, I mean, out of all the teams, Thomas the Tank Engine or Gorilla Radio are probably the most likely to lane swap. But I just don't think they're to that level of practice left. So
yeah, I guess we'll see in a moment here. I mean, from a strategy standpoint, it would make sense for this team.
Oh yes, a lane swap would make a lot of sense for this team because this team they want to extend the game out. They don't want to potentially go into a lane. They don't want to go into the laning phases and lose it. They want to just extend this game out. If they lose a couple towers early on, that's totally fine. The later this game goes on, the better for them. Level 1 looks like both teams are just sort of placing wards. No coordinated invades going on.
Wang does get some vision on the Wins, so if they had any doubts about there being a lane swap or not, they now know for sure that he's on the top side of the map.
Yep, and both teams forming up into that line defense. Very shallow wards going down for both teams in opposite jungles. No real information to gain from this.
A typical SBL level 1, you might say?
Yeah, except for my team, because we always invade.
So, how do you feel about this ancient coin on Nautilus?
I was gonna bring this up. So looking through LoL Nexus, pretty standard tank runes for jungle or for the support Nautilus on Joe, but he has 9-0-21, opting to go for the cooldown reduction points and then into Arcane Mastery for the early game ability power. Slightly questionable. I've never seen that before, and I don't agree with the coin at all. It really doesn't make sense on someone like Nautilus, who the Nautilus Corki lane can win this lane outright and snowball the game out of control.
So another thing happening here with these bot lanes, Salvo and Lock 'em Down did start at Krug or Gromp.
White. Ooh, Albino Joe lands the hook onto Salvo to start this lane off. They're getting a lot of good damage, and right there, Lock 'em Down's chunked down to half.
And suddenly that EXP advantage from starting with the camp doesn't do a whole lot. And Thrifty Senpai forcing some very good trade. There's the Knight going down. He's going to flash auto. Oh, but Thrifty Senpai's going to give up first on the Purple Pie.
Oh. Tunneling in too hard on Purple Pickle Pie takes an extra tower shot that costs him life. Not the best start.
For how well I thought he was playing that, you know, he was getting a lot of very good trades.
Yeah. Albino Joe landed another hook on to lock him down. He's so incredibly low, he had to taunt out of the fight.
He's also already popped the last of his health potions. And
Oh,
Just
wait.
action on plenty in this game.
Garen freaking Bolter up top, he's really low. He's forced back into his tower on the wind, pushing the minion wave into his tower. He's trying to chug those flash charges to regain some health here so he can stay in lane. Oh, another big hook landing down on the salvo. Gurnig, though, is going to get chomped up by the chompers. I don't think they can convert any kills here yet, but they're getting a lot of damage down onto the salvo, lock him down.
Yeah, fortunately they were able to get a good amount of damage onto the Gurnig there as well, which might give them a chance of not having the back here. And Salvo is currently out CSing despite this atrocious health lead.
Wow, and Salvo, yeah, he's not... He healed a lot of health for some reason. Oh, hook landing on the minion there. Develop Milk looking into the mid lane, seeing if he can get some pressure down onto Purple Pickle Pie. Get Thrifty back into the laning phase. Purple Pickle Pie came back with the Fiendish Codex. So...
50 Senpai, at least to feel good about himself, is keeping a nice CS lead here. And somehow, Salvo and the Gurnig, the Salvo and Flock of Town,
yeah,
taking a lead.
Wang's up in the top lane there, uses the smite on the wind, he has to flash out, respects the Shyvana with the red buff, or without a red buff actually, so...
You have to be thinking, you have to be thinking ganks in the mid lane that don't do anything. But you have to be thinking Garen fracking Volter wishes he had that ignite right about there.
Yeah, that might have been able to convert into a kill. But still fairly even in CS in the top lane. It's pretty even in CS across the board, except for bottom lane. Salvo is a farm monster. Big hooks lands from Albino Joe, but Gurnig's way too low. He cannot go in and follow up.
Yeah, Salvo's going to be able to bounce this wave here. Or maybe get a kill if Gurnig gets real cocky.
Yep.
And Salvo should be sitting at a good 2-wave advantage when these creeps reset. I don't understand how that happens with that huge health lead that Gurnig and Albino Joe had not too long ago.
Yeah, I think Gurnig just wasn't managing like the minion wave well enough during those early hooks. He probably took a lot of minion damage when he probably shouldn't have. Yeah, that's pretty much what comes down to it. Salvo managing his waves very well here. Yeah, and like you said, he's going to bounce this wave. He's going to push it into the tower, and then they might recall, and that
Salvo's
probably is enough gold for the BF.
Just short of the BF sword gold. I think he might stick around for one extra wave here.
Yep, or do Gromp.
And actually, with the way this wave is formatting, this will work out perfect for him because he needed to do another wave to fully bounce anyways.
Yep.
But Salvo's going to be at a much better build points for this time in the game than Gurnig is.
Yep. Yeah, Gurnig only came back with a longsword Ruby Crystal.
And 2 green wards. That is 5 green wards and a pink ward that the bot lane of WCF currently has.
Oh, Jesus. What is... Albino Joe, what are you doing? Holy crap. And Garen freaking Bolter, he's pushed into the middle of this lane. Melk has been up here for a good minute, sitting in the bush waiting for Garen to realize. Whimsy goes out, but H0, Garen freaking Bolter, just uses his E to walk back into the tower range. Well, I don't know, Albino Joe. Ruby crystals are a thing, my friend. Sightstone is a thing.
I mean, especially when you consider that your AD carry just came back to lane with 2 wards.
What are they gonna do with these wards?
They're gonna ward up everything. They're gonna make sure they have enough wards that they can stay in lane until he has enough for the Sightstone.
Oh man. Oh, 50
He's a
Senpai.
platinum player.
Oh my god, 30 Senpai pushed his wave into the tower, roams into the enemy jungle. Just a little quick peek, maybe seeing if you can get that roam down into the bottom lane. So 8 minutes in the game and still only 1 kill on the board for WCF. Purple Pickle Pie launches the Shark onto Thrifty Senpai. He's going to get knocked up, but the Shen ult comes in. The Ignite goes down, and My Wing is there, but Shyvana ults straight into the Shockwave. Thrifty Senpai flashes, but not able to get away, and Purple will come back with his life. Another kill going over to Purple Pickle Pie.
And this is starting to feel like that stereotypical game where Thrifty Senpai has zero respect for the enemy team, tries to do whatever he wants, and then he gets punished when a jungler shows up.
Yeah, yeah.
And a 2-0 Fizz, Salvo cannot be happy looking at that. This is not 2 weeks ago where Thrifty Senpai was drawing all the pressure imaginable.
Oh, Salvo is caught out by himself. He has to flash away, pushing a little too deep with lock him down in the river. And so far, this is a really good start for WCF in their team composition. Maybe Purple Pickup High will be able to carry this game.
Oh man, watching that hook salvo had just been hit by Albino Joe hit level 6 right at the end of that. He could have ulted the no flash salvo.
Oh, and Grenad's able to pick up the kill onto Salvo. He had to flash after getting chomped up. And it's enough CC. Yeah, good management of their level 6 power spike. Nautilus instantly using his ult. It looks like WCF, they are pinging Dragon. They're looking to try to take this early on. Salvo is down right now, but he's going to be up in right now.
He will have rockets before the fight does break out here.
Yeah.
Salvo traditionally very good with his cross-map rockets.
Yeah, no Dragon to be had, just not enough time, not enough decisiveness. But Gurnig, he stayed in bottom lane, pushing the wave. Melk and Lock him down are on him. He has to use the heal, but he gets knocked up. Albino Joe is there to help him out, and I think he's going to get away with his life here. Turns around and lock him down. Great hook out of Joe. And Wang picking up the kill with the Chilean Smite.
That was a beautiful Master Splinter-esque smite there.
Yeah, oh, and Gurnig, if he just backed a little further down the lane, would have got hit by that salvo rocket. Garen up top pushing his wave in.
And overall, a much better start than even they had last week for WCF.
Yeah, no, a 4-0 start. This is amazing. Purple Pickle by dancing around on Thrifty in the mid lane. Oh, the shockwave misses. 50 Senpai only has the shield to protect himself. Purple Pickle Pie with the flask. And he will pick up another kill. Killing spree for him. 3-0 on the Fizz.
And what in the hell is Thrifty Senpai trying to do here? Just watch his feet. It's like he's saying, haha, you're 2-0, but you're shit. This is Purple Pickle Pie. He's only Platinum 2. You're Diamond 4. That's not that far apart. You can't just magically outplay this guy every time he tries to fight you.
Yeah.
And throw your team so far into the hole here.
Yeah, oh, Salvo getting hooked up. Nautilus up is up once again, and he's going to go down. A kill onto Gurnig, lock him down with a really late taunt. And the CC for Albino Joe will probably come in here once again. Double kill for Gurnig. Garen going to get out with the very sliver of his health in the top lane.
And this game is starting to look like Thomas the Tank Engine's worst nightmare.
Yeah, 7-0 for WCF. Their composition is going to be spiking very soon in power. The two champions you want all the kills on, Fizz and Corki, they have all the kills. This will be Dragon 1 going over to WCF. Oh, that Jade Rocket was really close, actually. Wang with a pretty late smite there.
It's tough to say how much of this comes down to lock him down being on support or not. You know, that was a bot lane that was going fairly well at first for TDE, and then suddenly they're a combined 0 and 4.
Yeah, I don't think they're respecting Albino Joe's Nautilus hooks. Salvo's been getting hooked a lot, which is pretty uncharacteristic of him. He usually plays pretty safe behind the mini wave, just sort of slowly farming it out.
Well, maybe Salvo doesn't respect the bot lane. You know, 50 Senpai does that to everyone, but Salvo definitely has the personality to think he's better than everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Purple going in once again onto Thrifty here. There's so much damage going down. That support channel is not going to help you. Purple Picklebite took barely no damage there. Melk's in the mid lane, but he can't do anything to the 4-0 Fizz. He has the Morellonomicon in Sorcerer Shoots 13 minutes into the game.
And Thrifty Senpai saying, hey, my bot lane with the sub-0 4-0, I can match that.
Yeah, Thrifty's playing really far into the lane against this really fed Fizz. And he's not even building any MR. He's going straight into what looks like a Marillanomicon, not going for the Athenes.
I don't know if he thought he could bait that out for long enough that Devout Milk would show up and they would turn this lane around, but just another bad play from Thrifty Senpai.
Mm-hmm. Both junglers meeting into the top lane, looking to get some pressure down up there. So a 3K gold lead for WCF so far. Garen goes on the wind, has the W active. Whimsy comes out, and just another sort of wet noodle trade.
So, fun fact of the moment, Salvo, despite being 0-2, is up on CS.
Oh, on the wind.
That's worth. And
the picks up the kill. The auto flies through the air after the onslaught. Wang was in the top lane trying to turn it around, trying to pick up that counter kill, but Milk was there. So good solo kill for On the Win, and that's the best thing Thomas the Tank Engine has going for him right now. You have a 30 CS lead on your top laner with a kill. Oh, lock him down. Had to flash out of the Corki queue to try to stay alive.
Yeah, just another week. And actually, we see Purple Pickle Pot going on to Thrifty Senpai. He's going to get the Shockwave, but the Ignite will be enough to secure this kill. But Devout Milk able to show up in a bad flash out of Purple. It'll be a 1-4-1 in the middle.
Yeah. So Milk's going to get all that juicy shutdown gold. But he's still 1,000 gold down, basically, behind Wang, who has been pretty much just power farming in the jungle. He's showing up in the lanes a few times here and there just to apply pressure.
And the turrets are starting to fall for WCF.
Yep, this is what they need to do. That's good first tower to get into the bot lane, and now that duo lane's going to switch over into mid lane. They're going to push that down with purple, and that should all sync up in time for the second dragon, which they obviously have all the power in their hands to win the dragon fight. Ooh, On the Win, sort of in a rough spot right now. Milk goes in, misses the knockup. Albino Joe is going to hook in onto Milk, and Milk will die in the Baron pit. Kill going over to Wang, and On the Win just getting a little greedy there, trying to take out that pink ward in the enemy blue. Baits his teammate into the death, and you have pretty much the entire team of WCF in this mid lane looking to get that tower early on. Purple actually rotated over into the bottom lane, trying to proxy this wave just a little bit, and he's going to try to get some pressure on the tier 2.
Yeah, having Purple as a split pusher might not be a bad idea here. You know, there's no one on TDE that should be able to stop him.
Salvo meets Albino in the river. A good hook for the escape from Joe. Turns around.
Depth charge?
Yeah. Oh! Almost a really well-placed fish there. Salvo flashes out.
And ultimately, Salvo getting aggressive and trying to solo. And actually, a shockwave goes down to Albino Joe. Salvo picks up his first kill of the match. And now they're putting a ton of damage on the Purple Pickle Pie. And the Rocket could have just barely not finished him off. And Garen Fracky Bolter is going to teleport in to try to hold this tower. I don't think he's going to accomplish too much.
Yeah.
Gurnig is taking a ton of damage for no reason.
Ah, WCF, they're just standing too far out from their tower. They're taking all this free harass with the range from Thomas the Tank Engine. Albino Joe gets caught out by a shockwave. Almost gets Purple Pickle Pie killed as well. And this a 5-man push for Thomas the Tank Engine in the mid lane.
Should give TDE a good chance to pressure this tower. And I just don't know what WCF keeps doing. Did no one tell them the Jinx, Rek'Sai, Lulu, and Orianna all have long-range poke? But Salvo's going to choose to back in. So he's currently sitting on 2,050 gold.
Oh, what a terrible place to back. Salvo's going to get chomped up by the fish. he's still alive from the Lulu ult though. Melkina gets a good knockup into the back line, but his life will be traded away as well. 2 members down for TDE, and that's the second Dragon going over to WCF.
That was definitely a fight where if Command Shockwave had still been up for Thrifty Senpai, we would have seen a lot of blood in both directions. Unfortunately, he had to use that a kill earlier. But TDE's at least stopped the bleeding this past few minutes. Gold gap hasn't really changed a whole ton, although WCF now up 2 dragons. And looking across this board, a lot of first items completed for Thomas the Dank Engine. Actually, On the Wind is going to give his team the tower lead here. And for the second week in a row, despite being in a kill lead, WCF is down an early tower lead.
Yeah,
they at least have gold this time.
I have a really bad feeling this game is going to be very WCF-like. They play their laning phase so well, got huge advantages on their carries. They just need to close this out. Gurnig's gonna get Shockwave, has to blow the heal. Thrifty with the Flash Ignite, and he will finish him off, but he'll trade his life for the kill. Another kill going up to purple.
How bad the Gurnig has been at 80 carry. Just some of these bone-headed situations he got himself in. Last week, Flash flanking his Sivir, getting caught out for no reason here. Before, during that, when they were holding this mid lane tower siege, he kept standing in front of his tanks against all this poke. Gurnig is just looking like a solo queue player who doesn't know how to position himself in a pre-made game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason for him to be there in that mid lane, that close to Orianna.
And that's going to free up enough pressure that Salvo's able to take bot lane tower. We're down to under a 2,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and that's just because the TDE is farming so well. On the Wind has almost a 40 CS lead, Salvo a 30 CS lead. Fight going down into the river. Melk and Occam down are on the retreat. Garen freaking Bolter trying to go in. Goes a little too hard though. He's caught out in between 4 people. And Valkyrie will go over to Thrifty Senpai. They're just chasing too hard into the enemy jungle.
Wow, I cannot believe I'm watching this right now.
It's really looks like WCF's just giving TDE the opportunity to come back into this game. 3 towers now down for TDE. All of the outer ring down for them. And this is where their comp wants to be, honestly. They're back into the game. They just need to push these waves out and don't let WCF get any good 5v5 fights.
If before this game I had asked Thrifty Senpai, hey, it's 21 minutes into the game, he's seen the picks, and you're only down 2,000 gold, do you feel like you're in a decent spot? He probably would have said yeah. He probably wouldn't have expected this is the way they'd get there, but that's not that bad of a gold deficit given these comps.
No, it's absolutely not. It's very manageable still. But if it does break out into a 5v5 fight, without a doubt WCF should win the fight. Assuming they play it right.
So my Wang did go for that infamous second item, Blade of the Ruined King on Shyvana, so a fairly squishy team for WCF as well.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty much all damage.
Has a lot of magic resist, which is good because that is a very magic-intensive team out of TDE. But he's not going to soak it on. I just feel like Garen cracking Bolton is not going to do much of anything in these fights. The Spirit Visage first on Hecarim is such a...
Ooh, good blue trinket used out of Salvo. Catches the entire WCF team. They know where they are right now. Purple's going out in on to lock him down. He has to flash over the wall. And Melk has the flank. He's pretty much zoned out. Good rotation for WCF. They're going to pick up that tier 2 bottom.
Interrupted! Awesome play by Devout Melk, who might secure a tower.
Purple Pickle Pie goes way too hard. Thrifty's going to pick up another kill for himself. The greed is so real for WCF, and sometimes in these fights.
On the Wind getting a lot of pressure, gonna almost take the top lane second tower.
Oh, Hulk goes in on the salvo, but they're taking all this tower damage for free. Thrifty almost goes down with the Gurnig. there's just no reason to engage into their tower right now. On the win, it gets repelled back, but he'll pick up the tier 2 top. So at the end of the day, it's just a tower trade.
Oh, Shen's ulting in, but I don't know if he can save this. But
Yeah,
actually, no, here comes the rocket misses. But a two-man knockup, and Salvo here with the mop-up damage. A first kill going to Salvo. He's chasing down Garen fracking Bolter. And those 700 range rockets gonna chunk him out. Devout Milk gets a kill. And my Wayne goes for a cheeky bag. And a 700? And now Purple's going for off the win, but there's still 4 members of the team here. Purple has to flash out. But Devout Milk jumps and fish. The
premature Zonias! Milk lands the kill! Picks up the kill on the Purple. The greed is so real! Gurnig's in the mid lane, he's exhausted. The TDE is just too low to continue fighting. Or maybe not. This game is tied up in gold now. TDE has a 2-tower lead.
Gold deficit is within 100. How embarrassing.
Almost a 60 CS, or it's 60 CS lead for On the Wind over Garen frickin' Bolter. Dragon's up, and TDE is the one that is here to take it. WCF, they're picking down the Baron. They're gonna trade the Dragon for the Baron. Thrifty Senpai knows what's up. He potted up, actually. He has the Elixir of Sorcery right now.
Baron's not falling super fast. Salvo does have a super mega death rocket. And a plus!
Oh, man.
Jesus. And it looks like Thrifty Senpai must have missed a ward over a wall, so he's going to say he lags. And we're going to be right back into this. This is going to be... And that's the hashtag pause of the game brought to you by Bad Dragon. Are they candy or donuts? And we're back in the game. It looks like WCF is peeling off the Baron Masher. And ultimately nothing happens.
Yeah, and WCF retreats off the Baron. That was a really risky play.
Yeah, that's a very my Wang call. I don't necessarily think it was a bad one. I don't think that TDE had any vision in there. They were just on a hunch. And sometimes you gotta take chances with Baron. And my Wang's now getting really aggressive to try to finish this tower off. And he's gonna fail ult, and he's gonna die without even taking the tower down. And I don't know why you would ever do that. You are the mid-game power spiking comp. You should never be giving the enemy team a free power play just to finish off a tower when your team composition is built to finish off the tower on their own.
Yeah, and Milk's on the flank. He has... he just sort of slides by Garen frickin' Bolter, and TDE will pick up the tier 2 mid tower very easily. No one on WCF there is to contest. And for the first time in this game, TDE takes the gold lead. And look at the coordination out of TDE. They are one mind traveling together. I mean, this is not... The game's not over for WCF.
Oh, absolutely not. Their top should still have a slight advantage if played properly. But that seems like a big if right now.
Yeah, especially if they're able to get into that backline onto Salvo. Their Hulk lands down on 30 Senpai. Huge knockdown going down. Shockwave is not going to be as effective. On the win, has to retreat. Salvo is exhausted. Gurnig flies in, gonna pick up a kill for himself, double kill for Purple Pickle Pie, and My Wang with that Blade of the Rune King, double kill for himself, and a complete wipe, 0 for 4 for WCF.
And that bit they wanted before, they're gonna take it now. Just, wow. Such a clutch hook from Albino Joe to give his team new life in this game. And they needed that. To be able to get out of base, do these massive waves in the top and bot lane, and then most likely head for a siege strip to the mid lane.
Yeah. Yeah, now they're back in the driver's seat here. They have Baron buff, which is going to help out their team comp immensely. They're able to siege and push it into the tower. And if the fight is right, they're able to engage and win another 5v fight or 5v5 fight like they just did. Good engage out of Albino Joe. A good follow-up by his team as well.
Yeah, that was just awesome. And unlike last week, we see the team actually following when Albino Joe makes a play.
Yeah, no, that's really good to see. 0, 2, and 12 for him on that support Nautilus. He has the Talisman of Ascension and the Locket of the Iron Sorry. So he's there just to help out his team, help his team to get into the fight and to protect them against the damage.
Yeah, I think other than, the only player besides Albino Joe you can make a case for having the best game on their team would be Purple currently. Albino Joe just awesome on this Nautilus, which is something I don't think he played at all as recently as 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know that was a point of, there's a bit of an argument with WCF, was they didn't like that Albino Joe wasn't playing many of the tank supports. And this is a second week in a row now where he's having a pretty good game.
Yeah, he had a really good showing on Alistar last week. Great showing so far on Nautilus. Him and Gurnig, though, they did a lot better in their laning phase. And Blight, they did have a really good duo, the Nautilus Gorky versus the Jinx.
And they
Shen.
were against the jungle main playing supports.
Ah, that's also true. But regardless, they still had a really good laning phase, and they were able to transition into the mid game 4-1 and 5 for the Gurnig. So he's doing pretty well. Has the Triforce in the Blade, working on that last Whisper, and Purple has disconnected. So a 3K gold lead for WCF. 18 to 10 kills. They're still down 2 towers. They need to get that top tower, that tier 1 down. Try to open up the map a little bit more. Maybe get Purple Pickle Pie in a split pushing position.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't see any way anyone is going to 1v1 Purple Pickle Pie.
I don't see it either. If Lulu could probably answer Purple at like a tower, on the wind could wave clear and sort of keep his pressure limited. But if Purple Pickle plays it right, I'm pretty sure he can solo kill anyone on TDE. But maybe not. Maybe I'm not judging his fizz power correctly.
And just for my own interest, I do see Zaku13x in the Twitch chat, so I'm actually wondering if this was a benching or a substitute situation. Hopefully he can answer the insight for me if he hears this in a moment.
All right, and we are back into the game. Purple is reconnected.
Yeah, they're lucking out with some short pauses this season.
Yeah, 4 members
Really?
of WCF here pushing to the top, and just like I said, like a second ago, they're going for that top tower.
Turned into a little bit of a base race, but TDE is deeper, and they have a Jinx.
Yep.
And yeah, an inner for an outer trade, even though there is a Baron buff on the 3 of WCF in this top lane. And it looks like they're not going to stop. They're going to try to answer this, and that's an awful call.
Oh, no, Joe recalled, but they're going to have 3 against 3 in the bottom lane here. Melk is recalling himself as well. He has to try to answer Purple and Gurnig up top.
I know Joe wants to go deep on this.
Ooh, hook lands on a 30 Senpai, lock him down with the sort of the disengaged taunt. And lock him down is going to get singled out. He will flash over the wall, stays alive, taunts out, but Garen freaking Balter will pick up the kill. So not only were they able to answer the split push, WCF, they got 2 towers out of it.
Going to get an inhibitor tower, and now they're rushing for this inhibitor.
Yeah, Garen uses the teleport
at this inhibitor. But Purple's low, and Gurnig's not going to be an inhibitor destroyer.
Oh.
And here comes Salvo, chunking down Garen freaking Balter, but not going to get the kill.
Yeah, not the best teleport usage, in my opinion. They weren't able to pick up that inhibitor, but they did trade 2 towers for 1 at the end of the day, and a kill on the lock him down.
That was
they rotated over to mid lane.
For 1.
Oh, yeah, 3 towers, yeah. Man. Big shockwave coming out from Thrifty Senpai. Salvo's going to get excited. Double kill for him. WCF pushing a little too hard on low health pools. Purple with the fish to disengage.
Now, Gurnig might be a little thought out. No, I'm just kidding. He's Gorky. And Thomas the Tank Engine gotta be worried. This is open inhibitor versus that Fizz. I'm curious to see how these teams posture around the map now.
Yeah, second dragon going over to TDE. 2-2 for dragons. 3K gold lead for WCF. Even in towers as well. So looks like they're just gonna keep making the push into the mid lane. They want to get that tier 2 down.
Yeah, they do no longer have the Baron buff. But they are at this tower a little early. Tower is very low. Another wave or two, they'll probably be able to take it. And Albino Joe doing a good job of zoning TDE beyond their turrets, frees up pressure for his team to easily secure that tower. And that is now 7 towers for WCF. And it looks like they're trying to set up a 1-4 split push with Purple Pickle Pie in the top lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this move. I don't think they can brute force down onto the inhibitor towers. There's too much room for error, especially with Thrifty on Orianna.
But I do not like Purple Pickle Pie backing here. He's gonna stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all full health.
Oh! Gernig does have lifesteal. He's got a Blade of the Ruined King, so not as bad as that could have been.
Yeah, he'll just lifesteal off the wave here. But knowing Thrifty can do that kind of damage to Gernig is good to know for TDE. Milk trying to scope out their own jungle, see if they can get some pressure back. And they forced WCF out from the lanes.
Yeah, I don't know if somebody's just freaking out about that wave in the bot lane, that they really think they have to go clear, but they were just not willing to force down that inhibitor. And I don't like the decision to stall this out from WCF. You know, that's an exposed inhibitor. You had the mid lane prepped properly. I really wanted to see them just push out of that inhibitor and force the fight.
Yeah.
Because now we're 30 seconds till Baron Nashor, where one mistake could really screw this game up.
Yeah, I just don't think they're gonna pull the trigger on any kind of tower dives or initiations on those inhibitor towers. Like I said, there's a lot of room for error. Now that I look at it, I mean, you have Shen Taunt, you have Jinx Chompers, you have Lulu ult.
The top lane where the inhibitor's exposed.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I agree with the 1-4 they had going there. They just needed purple to basically dance around and pull and tug on TDE. But I don't see why they're not doing that.
But Baron Nashor is up. And I think we're going to see a lot of Baron dancing coming out in these next few minutes. As is normal at this time in the game.
Yeah.
And there's no one around Baron currently to prevent Devout Milk from getting down some wards. The only person that can prevent that is Devout Milk himself, because he does not have any.
Yeah. See, now TDE, their comp sort of excels at staying under towers, wave clearing, pushing this game further out into the late game. But WCF, now this is their domain. TDE, if they group up in one of these chokes in the jungle, WCF, they can pull the trigger and wipe them very cleanly and pick up a Baron and try to close out the game.
Yeah, we saw how fast this game can end if a few good ults happen. And Gertie!
He has the flash out straight into 4 members of the enemy team. Albino's gonna get chomped up, and surely he'll go down. Wang flies in after they've retreated. Oh, the Nautilus ult goes into Salvo, and they disengage, and Gernig and Albino Joe somehow get away with their lives. You just gotta wonder if Gernig just misclicks a lot.
Some of these moves just don't make sense to be anything but misclicks.
Right, they're so oddball, like it's just...
And WCF felt like they had to fight to back him up there, just because they thought it would go worse if they didn't salvage it. Somehow no one dies in all of that.
Yeah. He was just using it for the Rumble ult, right? Valkyrie? You just want to
Yeah,
get the damage,
the
right?
Equalizer is very strong for initiating team fights sometimes.
Yeah. So you have on the win, teleport is up, he's in the bottom lane, pushing out the wave. All 5 members of WCF are on the top side of the map. They have Gurnig pushing out the wave into the top lane. They want to put pressure on that open inhib. And while they dance around Baron, on the win will keep pushing, and actually he's going to recall. Salvo himself picking up the Elixir of Wrath, so a lot of Elixir buys for TDE at different points of the game. Try to shore up some of their weaknesses in the power spikes.
So before that recall from On the Win, you only have the components of his Zanya's Hourglass. I actually would have liked to have seen WCF pull the trigger out of fights, once again. Because I really think they had a chance to just burst somebody down before Lulu could teleport in. At which point she'd teleport in and not even be that tanky on her own.
Yeah.
But instead, On the Win going to do a good job prepping a nice slow push in the bot lane. So they shouldn't have to worry about that for quite a few minutes here.
Yeah, bottom lane's gonna push in TDE's favor, it looks like. And Milk, oh, not gonna get caught out. Dragon is up as well, that is an option.
And these teams are getting really split here.
Ooh, Hook hits the wall, but not on the wind.
But Thrifty Senpai is being dragged.
Oh, Shockwave lands onto Albino Joe and My Wang, though. Gurnig's gonna pick up, lock him down in the back line. Thrifty gonna trade a kill onto My Wang. Milk with a double knockup. The fight is going every which way. Purple's gonna pick up a kill for himself. Comes out of Zonias and on the win picks up the kill. At the end of the day, a 2 for 2. Farm alarm comes out. Milk is here. Gurnig running for his life. See if he can get out of this one. The smite goes down. And Salvo on a killing spree. So 3 kills going over to TDE.
It is just a support Nautilus and a no damage Hecarim that are alive. Thomas the Dank Engine has their smite and they have Salvo. And this is going to be their Baron Nashor attempt. And you cannot flame Chopper's Baron Nashor, my friend. He does not move. But that was just a really staggered fight from WCF.
Yeah.
Wang didn't have anyone there to back him on the initial engage. They let Salvo and Thrifty Senpai set up good enough positioning. And now we see the second Baron of the game. This one, a first for Thomas the Dank Engine, who cut the gold deficit under 2K again.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, both teams are really split in that jungle. But it doesn't make sense for WCF to be split. Wang, a little too far out for his team. He initiates with a kind of weird Shyvana ult. And just miscoordination out of WCF. I think they could have synced up a little bit better and gotten a lot of kills in that jungle.
Yeah, and at this point they have to be starting to worry, because with the items that are complete now, their power spike is long gone. Especially against the Baron up Thomas the Dank Engine. And for everything that's been going on for WCF to go wrong this game, it's really Garen fracking Bolter that's sticking out for me as the one that's doing the least for his team. I feel like he hasn't had a single moment of impact on this entire game as Hecarim. His build order... I mean, being a pussy is a choice, and he chose to be a pussy this game with that build order.
Yeah.
Bolter and Hecarim just not very effective. He doesn't actually have his second full item completed 40 minutes into the game. He has Home Guard, Merc Treads, a Spirit Visage, and he's still hundreds of gold away from his Randuin Zone that he's working on.
Yeah, has the second least amount of gold in this game. Only Lock 'em Down has less gold.
The supports combined have almost as much CS as he does.
Yeah.
He hasn't known how to play this champion properly. He doesn't know what to build, and he's at no point found any impact. And now we see a huge Baron siege coming.
Yeah, the fish goes out, locks up Thrifty, but no one's there to follow up. That was a huge minion wave for TDE with Baron buff, and they take down the tower down to half. Shockwave finishes off Gurnig. WCF is on the retreat. Albino Joe tries to stay and lock up the enemy team, but only one kill goes down, but surely the inhibitor will go down as well. And TDE, they're looking here to push in.
That's crazy.
They want to keep going. Wang locks up the backline with a good Shyvana ult. Purple Picklebot, he's trying to get into the backline, but he's interrupted. He's not able to. Hasazonia is under the tower, and Salvo is so incredibly huge right now, not taking any damage, and he's on a rampage. And this will probably be the game for TDE.
And Thrifty Senpai is going to die here. Where is Salvo? Salvo gets zoned out momentarily, but he's back. He's trying to stay away from this fish. That's a second Nexus Tower down. But Purple buying a little more time. 5 seconds on the Gurnig.
Yeah.
But a long time by himself. That is going to be the game.
Yep.
And just that last fight, there was a fish. I didn't see a depth charge go with it.
No, see, Joe was definitely in range for the depth charge, but they didn't want to follow up on that into the huge mini wave.
And I feel like they had to. They couldn't just stall this game out. They knew they were getting outscaled. And just a super, super embarrassing loss for WCF for the second week in a row.
Yeah, they had a nice big gold lead in the early to mid game, but just not able to convert it into a win.
And I don't know where you start to fix the problems with this team. We've seen so many. Grenade gets caught out a lot. Garen doesn't seem to know what he's doing in top lane.
Yeah, well, I mean, congrats to TDE. They showed off their perseverance and really good shot calling, and they made the right moves and they picked the right fights, and able to get the second win of the season for them.
So I'm thinking for an interview here, I would actually like to hear from Devout Melkin on the wins.
Okay.
If we had a chance of perhaps getting them into this channel in any way.
User was moved to your
Mr.
channel.
Melkin, Mr. Wins, congratulations on your win.
Hey there.
I don't even know where to start. What is the shot calling like in a game like that? You guys were down 15-3. Or 13-5. There was a substantial amount. Thrifty Senpai was just beating out of his mind in the mid lane. What were you guys comms like in that, start of the mid game?
Pretty much what we were trying to do. When we were like, what was it, 7-0 or something like that, like we knew we were down quite a bit. So most of the calls were just trying to play it safe and work around the map. When they would all move in for an objective, we would just rotate and try to trade it. And then I was up top lane, surprisingly. So I just kind of pushed that advantage and tried to get us some global gold. I think there was like at one point after we were down a little bit, we started bringing it back up when we quickly took 2 towers in succession. We were actually up towers despite being down about 7 or 8 kills and a dragon. So we just tried to like take what we could get and ride it out until Thrifty could get big enough and Salvo could start carrying on the hyper carry.
Well, it worked. On the win, you specifically, I thought had the best individual matchup performance in that game. You slowly, methodically beat in Garen fracking Falter, and he never had an impact at any point in that game.
Yeah, so
how did you feel about that 1v1?
Very good. Like Lulu typically can do really well in matchups as long as the lane opponent doesn't get far ahead. And he started building just straight tank, so I knew that I'd be able to out-trade him. If he tried to go in on me, I could just shield and walk away, since he couldn't trade as much without the Sheen or the Triforce. And then slowly just push the advantage. I didn't want to make any risky plays to try to get kills since we were down on the rest of the map. Safe play and just grabbing more CS and tower was pretty much my game there.
Well, it seemed like it worked.
Melk, you're once again on Rek'Sai, one of your comfort picks. How did you feel in that early game when you didn't really have a chance to make any plays?
Most of that early game was probably on me. I made some dumb calls. We kind of split shot calling a little bit, and I didn't do much that game, so I kind of screwed that up. So we kind of just rallied, and I stopped playing dumb. You know. It
Yeah, I
happens.
mean, Rek'Sai, you build full tank and you hit your knockups and you build for your team.
Absolutely. The knockups is the best part of that champion. I love doing front flips.
So to sum up this victory for us, it's just a Lulu comp. You group and you win.
Yep.
So you guys are now 2-0 with Thrifty Senpai in your lineup. Not as convincing as the last time you played with him, but still a decent start to your guys' season.
Right, but it shows that they can play from behind. So a very versatile team you got going.
Yeah, that was the plan the entire time, right, Win?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
We've also wanted to show that we don't need Thrifty to be fed out of his mind early game to win.
Wow, see, this is all part of the master plan, Swift.
Yes. Got to play the long con.
There's no brakes on the dank engine.
So you're playing against Sharkbait next week. How do you feel about that matchup?
I don't think they have as good a shot calling, and I think we'll just be able to play the map better.
All right. So that's the advantage your team has over other teams.
I think so.
And our ban phase usually goes really well. It's hard to ban out our team.
We can also carry from a lot of different roles.
Yeah.
Team versatility.
You can see from that game, they can shut down mid lane, but we can carry from elsewhere.
Alright, well, congratulations. I don't need to rub it in anymore to WCF if they lost that game. They have a lot to reflect on. You guys played very well. And good luck next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Congrats.
We are going to pull our 3-minute stream break before we hop
left
into
your channel. User
Guerrilla
left your
Radio
channel.
versus Team Salt Shaker. We'll be back in 3.
User left your channel.